I think I
Coming
bring a lot of value to the table.
Would the men who have dated you think that you're difficult?
No, I think some of the men who date independent,
Oh,
successful.
that word.
Wait.
There's that word.
Wait a second.
Whenever a woman says independent, that means she's difficult.
I'm not difficult. You didn't let me finish the question.
Go ahead.
And so you already have a perception of what it means
That
to be
when a woman says I'm
independent.
independent and strong,
Trust me,
is
I
another
am
word.
looking for the Clyde to my Bonnie. I believe in the power couple. That's all I've seen my entire life. But it depends on how he sees my role as a wife. If he sees me as a domestic goddess, then yeah, we're going to have a problem. Because that's not who I am. You didn't, when you met me at the age that I am, I wasn't that. So if he has kids, great. I don't mind being the stepmom. But I'm not looking to, give birth now. I mean,
That's
that doesn't mean that I
amazing.
don't.
Are you married?
Nope,
Have you ever been married?
I have not.
Do you want to be married?
I used to.
Do you want to now?
I want to be in a long-term relationship.
Does that mean include marriage?
That doesn't
marriage?
necessarily include marriage.
So you want to be with a man, but not married to him?
It depends on his concept of marriage. I'm a rarity, and I realize that I'm a rarity in terms of coming from a two-parent household and understanding and seeing the value. So I look for implants from some country town where they know the value of families.
Would you change your title?
If I got married, I would become the wife.
Right, and would you stay home?
No,
You would not stay home?
no.
You would let your kids suffer?
I wouldn't have any kids. I don't have any kids.
Would you have kids if you got married?
No,
You would not?
no.
Well, there's no need to get married then.
You asked me the question. I
Right.
told you I don't want to get married
So
at the
you
beginning.
You don't want kids?
I'm not right now, no.
Is someone dated? Have you ever dated?
Don't I look like I've dated? Yes, I'm none.
I'm sorry?
I'm not a nun. Of course I've dated.
And so are you a difficult person
No,
to
I'm
date?
not a difficult person. No, I don't think I'm difficult at all.
You're not a
I
difficult.
think I bring a lot of value to the table.
Would the men who have dated you think that you're difficult?
No, I think some of the men who date independent, successful.
Oh, that word.
Wait.
There's that word.
Wait a second.
Whenever a woman says independent, that means she's difficult.
I'm not difficult. You didn't let me finish the question.
Go ahead.
And so you already have a perception of what it means
That
to be
when a woman says I'm
independent.
independent and strong,
Trust me,
is
I
another
am
word.
looking for the Clyde to my Bonnie. I believe in the power couple. That's all I've seen my entire life. But it depends on how he sees my role as a wife. If he sees me as a domestic goddess, then yeah, we're going to have a problem. Because that's not who I am. You didn't, when you met me at the age that I am, I wasn't that. So if he has kids, great. I don't mind being the stepmom. But I'm not looking to, give birth now. I mean,
That's
that doesn't mean that
amazing.
I don't.
Do your father know you think this way?
Of course he knows I think
He,
that
he
way.
does know this?
Of course he knows.
And is he disappointed?
Of course. I mean, he wants to extend his legacy, but he
Yeah,
has two
so
other
does
kids.
he regret sending you to school because the school messed you up like this?
No, school did not mess me up.
Who messed you up like this?
First of all, I don't think I messed up. First of all, but I think that I've had men who've, let me finish my question.
Okay.
So I look for my Jay-Z, and I'm just using that, figuratively.
Jay-Z.
Wait a second, whoa, slow your roll.
Not a good example.
Okay, I'm just talking about in terms of a power couple. Let me just
Oh,
say that.
okay.
You want me to say Michelle and Obama? I'm looking for
Uh-uh.
my Obama. Okay. What's gonna make you feel warm and fuzzy? I'm trying to just make you
You're
understand.
naming all the weak men.
They're not anyway. So no, I am looking for a partner, right? Because I believe marriage is
Another
a
bad
partnership.
word.
Wait a second. If you look at, as an adult, I went back and I saw and I'm not sitting here to proclaim to be a Bible scholar, but I reread, Proverbs on the virtuous woman, right? And isn't that supposed to be God's ideal couple? So
Yes.
she was an entrepreneur. I mean, was not a domestic goddess. She woke up, she took care of the breakfast, she got the kids ready for school, and the housekeeper took care of the kids and did the domestic stuff. She went in the back, she
Lord.
did her sewing, she went into the market and she sold it and she brought her home, the money back to her husband. He was a leader in the community. So she was not necessarily, the Bible doesn't depict the virtuous woman as a domestic goddess.
That's amazing what people do with the Bible. So let me
This is
ask.
how I read it.
So when you're like alone at night after you did your little power meetings and you went out
Why is it power? It really was power. Why you gotta do it like that?
and you're alone at night,
I'm never alone at night. And I'm not saying that I'd always have somebody, but I don't necessarily have to have, I have a huge family. I am the second eldest of 80 first generation grandkids.
but you don't ever long for the love of a husband?
For a husband or for companionship are two different things.
But if it's not your husband, it's not real love. Do
That's
you
not
long for
necessarily
the
true.
husband, the love of a husband?
Do I long for the love of a husband? Not necessarily a husband, and I don't long for, a man. The Bible said he who finds, so I'm not looking for anything. I'm waiting for him to find me, the right man. I only need one.
So you would live with a man and you would do the whole sex thing and everything without being married to him?
I could do that.
You would do that.
I
But you're a
could.
Christian, how can you do that?
Just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean you think I'm going to hell because I cohabitate with somebody that I'm not married to? I don't
No, but it goes against what God, as his daughter, what he would want you to do.
He does talk
Why would
about
you
marriage.
disobey your
I'm not
father?
saying that I wouldn't, but I would be open.
But
to,
you already have your mind made up. That's what you're looking for. You want a man, but you don't want to marry him. But
Wait, you're putting words into my mouth.
But you
What,
would,
tell me what I want. What I want.
you want a man that you don't have to marry, and you want the sex.
And I said I
you
was
want
open
everything.
to it. I said, but if his philosophy, if you're in alignment, if we equally yoked, and we're on the same page, and we have the same life philosophy as it relates to religion and business, and we complement each other, then yeah, you know what?
That's not a marriage.
That
That
is
would
still
never
marriage. A
make
marriage
for
is a
marriage.
partnership. I don't need for somebody to raise me. I need for somebody to help sustain my family legacy and to help build it.
Does white privilege exist?
Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely.
And where's the proof of that?
All around. I tell people often now, in hindsight, one of the things that I wish I would have been more cognizant of was the white privilege at UCLA that was sitting, right next to me. For Black people, I believe white privilege is something to leverage.
What is it though? I don't see it anywhere. What is it?
Huh?
What is it?
How don't you
For
not
people
see
like
white
me who
privilege?
don't see it.
How do you not see white privilege?
Because it doesn't exist. That's
Yes,
what
it does.
So what
there's
is it
some
exactly?
things. I believe white privilege is just the ability just to be free and white and not have the same type of social, economic, and social ills as Black people have to deal with. I mean, there's no white racial profiling. White people don't get pulled over by the cops just because they're white. They have the ability to, show emotion and love to their sons without being emasculated. There's all kind of examples
That's
of
amazing
white privilege.
that you believe that.
Absolutely. Why don't you Black? How come you don't believe white privilege exists? What you see?
Well, because I am Black in color, but I don't have that dark mentality that most Black people have.
Clearly.
I see, she said clearly, I see that white people have the same struggles and things that we have in that
What type of
they have
struggles
to
do they
make their
have?
marriages work. They have to make their children, help their kids grow up in the right way so that they can earn a living and be independent.
But they also have the majority of
They
their
make
fathers
kids-
at home.
Right,
We don't
and the
have-
reason for that, it's starting to change somewhat now, but the reason for that is because they are taking responsibility for that, whereas Black men and women are not taking responsibility for that, as they did prior to the Civil Rights Movement. Black people are blaming it on their lack of self-control and self-containment. They're blaming it on white people, while white people are working hard to keep it going.
I do
for
believe
themselves.
that there is a need for Black people to be held more accountable.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that doesn't excuse racism, that doesn't excuse institutionalized racism, that doesn't excuse...
But there's no
that-
such thing as that.
Yes,
It's
it
an illusion
is.
made
No,
up
it's
by
not.
Black people and
No,
their
it's
leaders.
not. No, it's not. It exists.
Well,
Sorry.
where's the proof of it though?
What do you mean, where's the proof of it?
There are many kids who are getting into, Black kids who are allowed to get into these universities around the country, right, based on affirmative action. And because of affirmative action based on their color. That's discrimination based on color, and that's wrong. And these kids are getting in, but they're not earning their way. So when they fail, they feel less than before they were allowed to get in based on color.
I'm a proud product of affirmative action. When I went to UCLA, it was because I was an affirmative action student.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I think I turned out fantastic. So a lot of my peers who were having challenges getting into some of these predominantly white institutions, the affirmative action was great. My father went to Harvard. He was one of very few Blacks.
Was he affirmative action person?
I don't know if he was. That was back in the late 60s.
Well,
I don't
then
know.
he wasn't. He
Okay.
earned his way.
So, that being said, I still believe that affirmative action helped me get into UCLA, and it gave me access
You would
and
not have
exposure.
gotten in there on your own Because you were not smart enough?
I don't know if I wasn't smart enough, but based on the curve and what I was competing with other individuals who had different educational opportunities and teachers. I mean, I'm coming from, the LA Unified School District. I mean, so at the time, I think LAUSD was still pretty good. But I went to all white schools from high school up
So you
through
got
college.
a good education. Why couldn't you get into the school based on your own talent?
I don't know. Maybe because I didn't have some of the opportunity.
But you had the opportunities.
No, well, first of all,
you had the same opportunity
SAT,
those white kids were having.
Not necessarily. I had different teachers. I had different
So you
resources.
went to a white integrated school.
I'm talking about
mostly
going
white.
into these other into UCLA. I still had to be able to deal with some of the issues and going to predominantly white schools.
Like
but
what?
I still had to be able to compete.
Like what?
What do you mean, like what?
Some of the issues going to a predominantly
I would graduate from University High School, and at the time they didn't have an African American student union.
An African American student union?
At the school.
Well, that's a good thing.
They didn't have one.
That's a good thing.
Why?
Why do you need something like that?
They have Asian student unions. They have Jewish student unions. They have all kind of different.
Did they have
student
white
unions.
student union?
They need student union. They own the whole school. So
But the kids didn't own the school. The kids didn't.
But I'm
own it.
saying there's nothing. I don't think there's nothing wrong
It's
with having
amazing that
a
you think this
segregated,
way.
population of students who just want to study together, or work together, or to be able to.
Would you
deal
be in
with
support of a white student union?
Yeah, of course.
It would be okay with you?
Yeah, why
Okay.
not?
But most blacks don't feel that way.
I think all cultures should be able to segregate and to be able to work within their cultures and network within their own cultures. Absolutely.
Does racism exist?
I believe racism does exist.
And where's the
absolutely.
proof of that?
You just see it all over in the country. With proof of it. In terms
What-
of just
what do I see?
Disproportionate in the economics with black people.
But that has nothing to do with racism.
It does. Racism is about power. It's about who's in control. And black people can't be racist because we're not in control. We're not in control of the educational system, some of the social organizations and things that run this country. We're not in control. Racism is about power.
But you would
What
be
race
in
is
control of your own life if you had good parents, if they taught you how to be independent, if they taught you how to build, how to take care of. I've noticed that the reason I left where I lived over there in the Crenshaw district is that once the white people left, because once I moved there, when I first moved there, it was mostly whites. But once they left, as they did in Gary, Indiana, and other places, the blacks turned it into a ghetto. A beautiful area went to hell in a handbasket, so I got out. But if blacks had more character and they were taking care of themselves and being responsible and buying land and teaching their
But
children,
that has to be taught.
then so that has nothing to do with racism.
But that has to, of course, that has to be taught.
So it's not racist. It's not white people's fault that you're not teaching your children to do that.
No, but it's not. If the
that true?
parents don't know,
They
if the
don't know.
parents,
But that's not
the
white
parents
people's
don't
fault,
know, but if they go into some of these institutions, these predominantly white institutions, they are targeted. They don't have the same opportunities because of their color. It's true. I mean,
So then why go in there then? Why not go to an all-black school if you
some
feel
people
that?
do choose to do that.
I'm sorry?
Some people do choose. That's
Well,
why
you see a lot of these black kids going to these white universities, and then they force their way in by saying, I need affirmative action. Once they get in, now they crying racism. Why do you want to force your way in with the people you think are your enemies, and you're still complaining once you get there?
I don't think people are forcing their way. Does
They are.
affirmative action
Affirmative
even
action
exist?
is forced based on color.
But does affirmative action even exist? Are people getting in based on affirmative action?
Yes.
Today,
Otherwise, they wouldn't be there.
The way Trump has it down, he's just leveled the playing field. So it is going to have to be more about being able to be competitive.
Hallelujah. Aren't you happy about that?
To a certain extent, I think that Trump is going to force the black people to think more culturally and to think about mobilizing our resources and having to be able to compete. There's nothing wrong with competition. This whole
Well, I don't
economy
think
is
he's
based
going to
on
get them to
competition.
think culturally. I think
I
he's
think-
going
I
to get
think-
them to think independently and work hard and save their money and do the right thing and sell your product to anyone, not some so-called black dollars or anything like that.
I think
but
there's
when
a
you have
value
a
in
product,
recycling
you
black
sell it
dollars.
to anyone.
But I think that there's a value in recycling black dollars just in terms of the economics. I'm not saying you can't sell to other cultures, But I think it's vital that we continue to recycle our dollars in our own communities.
But don't you think something is wrong with black people that you have to tell them that? You don't have to
I don't
tell
think there's
any other
anything
race.
wrong with them.
You don't
No, I
have
don't think
to, you
there's
don't have to
anything
say
wrong with
recycle
them.
white dollars or Mexican dollars
because
or.
it's ingrained culturally for them to do that. So
And black people used to have that too, prior to the civil rights movement.
like I talked about in my TEDx talk, you know what I mean, in terms of Black Wall Street. But that's something that was not passed down intergenerationally. I wish, you know, the lessons of Black Wall Street were passed down intergenerationally so that we would think to own the real estate in which we
If there
operate
were
our
more
businesses.
people that would do it. President Trump is going to put a big, beautiful wall around the borders because illegals are coming in and they are hurting black people first and foremost, and that they're moving into their communities, they're taking the jobs, they're bringing violence, crime, and drugs. They hate black people. They're supported by the drug cartels. Are you happy that the president is putting this big, beautiful wall around the borders?
Irrespective of whether it happens or not, I don't have an opinion about that.
But you have to notice that especially in that area where your father's buildings are, or built the buildings, the Mexicans, the illegal aliens are taking over those areas. And at Crenshaw and Manual Arts and those high schools in the area, there are fights every day between blacks and Mexicans because the black kids are being pushed out.
I don't think necessarily black people left because of Hispanics.
So you're not bothered about what's happening with the blacks as a result of Hispanics coming in? You're not bothered by that?
I don't know exactly what the Hispanics, when they come in, that they're doing specifically to black people.
What is the state of black women in your generation? They can't find husbands. They have to go and get jobs on their own, those who are working. They have these babies, they have to provide for themselves, and they are perceived as angry women.
You date black women?
Yeah, when I date black women.
You say you date black women,
yes.
And you say that so why are you continuing to date black women?
Because I know how to deal with them. I know how to show them how to overcome that anger. I'm not afraid of them.
Okay.
And I realize that they're
So
angry.
if they had more men like you in
Right.
the home who could, then yeah, I mean, I think there is going to be, you know, some sense of strength in that. But remember too, we were getting beaten and whipped in slavery too. So that our femininity was beaten.
You were getting what?
We were getting beaten and raped.
When did you get beat?
I'm just talking about culturally.
Who beat you?
Our slave masters. You were born on a plantation. I'm sure they got you.
No.
I'm sure they.
Blacks
Sure they
were better
backed up on
when
you
it
a little
comes
bit.
to when it comes to morality, when it comes to marriage, lack of abortions, treating people the way that they would like to be treated, owning property, getting educations, getting a good education in black universities and black schools. Blacks were better off then than they are today.
I do believe that integration was probably one of the worst things that happened to black people.
And why I agree with that. Forced integration was horrible. It should not have happened. Why do you agree to that?
Because I think it allowed us the opportunity to assimilate versus really thinking like we were talking about with Black Wall Street. Think about recycling, you know what I mean, our culture and our economics and our communities. I mean, we're a $1.1 trillion consumer spending people. So to the extent that we have that much money in our purses, why do our communities look the way they do? Because we have such economic leakage.
No, it's because they hate one another. They have so much anger,
I don't
and
think
that anger won't even let them live together.
I don't think, no, I think, but what are we spending that $1.1 trillion on? We're spending on red bottoms that we shouldn't, and cars, and materialistic things.
But that's what anger does. It causes you to look for something on the outside.
I don't think that's anger. Why do you think black people, are you angry? You're black. Are you angry?
I used to be angry. I had that black anger.
Okay, so how did you?
But I'm over it now.